One of the first things I say to my entire production before shooting is, no one here is more important than anyone else. It comes from my experience as an actor, recognizing that certain people on set really believed in this really unfair social hierarchy that was only getting in the way of people's best work. And I promised myself if I ever got to be at the helm that I would not do that and I would take steps to avoid it.
Frank has built something truly special. What he's created out here, it's a different way, a better way.
My elevator pitch for Don't Worry Darling would be, imagine the life you've always fantasized about, and then imagine discovering something that makes it impossible for you to stay in that life despite feeling so happy. It's about the reality you create for yourself and what makes it authentic, and truly about what you would do in order to do what's right, what you would be willing to do, and are you willing to destroy the system that serves you?
Everyone is acting like I'm crazy, and I'm not crazy.
The first scene we shot for Don't Worry Darling was at the Kaufman House in Palm Springs, which has been photographed by many people, but famously by Slim Aarons. It's designed by Richard Neutra. It's like the most beautiful house. And actually, when I was writing Don't Worry Darling, I had a print of Poolside Gossip on my wall. And I remember staring at it and just really kind of imagining the world of Victory through this photograph, and kind of wrote it in as like, it's sort of a Kaufman House-like environment. And then when we were scouting, Chris Ball, my location manager, was like, do you want to go see the Kaufman House? And I was like, well, I mean, they've never shot a film there. They've never shot a film there. So to be there was huge. And then to direct the first shot there felt like this really auspicious beginning to this movie, which was this love letter not only to film, but to architecture, to design, to this era. So the scene is when Jack and Alice walk into Frank's house, who's played by Chris Pine, and they're there for a fabulous party, and Shelley, played by Gemma Chan, welcomes them. And it was when we got our first shot of Chris, who I remember was wearing these like amazing shades. He looked like Roy Orbison mixed with like Elvis. He looked so cool, and everybody was there, and I was like, wow, we did it, we're here. It's amazing to be able to make a dream come true, and suddenly it felt like we had.
I'm so sorry I forgot to tell you, but you're not feeling very well. And the only way to cure it is if we stay home all day and I tend to you and kiss you and cook for...
Bye.
Harry is a fearless performer. He's a great storyteller, and I think all musicians are really storytellers. And if you've stood in front of thousands of people and performed, you're not gonna be intimidated by a few cameras. So that kind of openness and playfulness and fearlessness is so wonderful on a set. We needed whoever was going to play Jack to be instantly lovable and someone who was deeply charming and empathetic. And I knew that Harry and Flo would be beautiful together and that they would work really well together. He just was the perfect Jack, and it was really about them being the perfect combination.
Please, what's actually happening?
Stop it, Alice.
Florence has an innate intelligence and ferocity. She's incredibly tough. She starts the film with a huge smile on her face, and she's full of joy and laughter and passion, and she goes then into places of deep fear and rage and determination, and that range doesn't exist in every performer, and Florence has that range. She's also timeless in her beauty, but she has a kind of like old-fashioned classic beauty that reminded me of Elizabeth Taylor and Brigitte Bardot. I remember showing her all my reference pictures, and I said, I really want to turn you into Brigitte Bardot. And she was like, yes, let's do it. You know, a real playful openness to the world we were trying to create.
I live next door. You wouldn't believe the things I've heard.
Jack and Alice only have time for each other.
My path from actor to director went from actor to actor making short films, to actor making music videos, to more shorts, to trying an independent feature, and now a bigger movie. So I've kind of walked my way up the path, starting with short form content. It's really been 10 years now. I directed my first short 10 years ago. I didn't realize that till right now. It's funny. It takes time. It's so interesting to think that I started on shows like The OC and House because I was so lucky to join extremely popular shows. I came in to both series after they had already really hit a chord and were part of the zeitgeist. I got to watch how the shows were put together, all the work that was going into them being so successful, but I felt like it allowed me to have this kind of bird's eye view, which I think has really informed me as a director.
I'm a huge fan of spontaneous first dates.
I am too.
Roles for women in the business have come a long way since the early aughts, and specifically queer roles. Both my roles on The OC and House were queer women, and at the time, that was seen as like really extraordinary, and it shouldn't have been extraordinary, it should have been rather ordinary. And I think we could have gone a lot farther to create even more authentic portrayals. I never thought it should have like made headlines that we had a same-sex relationship on a network show.
You know, if you're in the mood to start kissing or groping or showering.
You'll have to excuse Dr. House. He mistakes immaturity for edginess.
My time as an actress definitely informed my style as a director based on really great experiences I had with amazing directors who really set high bar examples for me of how to run a set, how to treat actors, how to develop a film. I am aware that many of the ways I approach a set are based on what I had always dreamed someone would do for me. Allowing for more rehearsal time, understanding what a closed set really means for intimate scenes, bringing actors into the screenwriting process, welcoming all ideas from every crew member, creating an equal playing field. I don't know why it's so much harder for a woman to get a film financed at a high budget level than a man. I do know that the women who have done it, so if we're talking about Patty Jenkins and Chloe Zhao, who are showing not only that it can be done really well, and it can be done to great financial yield for the studios. I think that's opening the door for the rest of us, for sure. But I think we'll really be evolved when we stop even having a category of conversation that's like women in film. It's hard to know exactly why Hollywood has gone so far backwards since, let's just say, the silent film era, when several films were directed by women. It was very common for female directors to direct silent films that were major Hollywood hits. They were part of the system. Then we went backwards. It was merely that the studio system was run by men who were using the same kind of stable of male directors. I don't think it's ever been about a lack of talent. It's been about a lack of opportunity. And for women, I think the struggle doesn't stop there. I think even if you get to make your film, it's still harder to be taken seriously as a director. And like women in all industries, we are also juggling the different responsibilities of life. And there are many mothers who are directors, which is its own kind of intricate balance work. Of course, there are many fathers who are directors, but the expectations still seem to be different. I feel really lucky to be directing right now. I think there's a lot of excitement about new voices in cinema. I think audiences are empowering people by supporting their films. I think it's a really cool time to have this job.